So for the final stage of this haircut, we are gonna do a simple fade. We're gonna do one of 0, and then one of half, and then one of 1. What I mean by 0 is if you take the guard off of your trimmer, that's a 0. Now the trimmer also has an adjustment, and you can adjust the trimmer itself to go up to what would be a half comb size. If I leave the lever all the way down and put a half on it, that's a half. Now, without even using that comb, I could just use the lever and bring it up like that, and that would also be the equivalent of a half. I don't use the lever very often, except for when I'm doing a fade. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a 1 and a half, and then a 0. And that's basically every step between 1 and a half to 0. The right way to start with the fade is to begin at the bottom and to work our way up. I'm gonna let the other trimmer cool down, and I'm gonna use this Kemei detailed trimmer to start our 1 line. So I'm gonna start the first one right above the ear, work a little bit higher, and then a little bit higher from there, and then we're gonna fade all 3 of those together. So the first one I'm gonna start at about the height of his ear, and this one is gonna be level 0. This trimmer gets a very close cut, which is nice. It actually gets a closer cut than most of the regular hair trimmers. They just don't go quite as close to the blade as this one does. And that's nice because it's almost like a shave. So now we're gonna work around the ear. And as we get past the ear, I'm gonna pull the ear down a little bit and keep that line as straight as possible. Not really all that worried here about the straightness of this line, because we're gonna just be basically fading everything into each other as we go. And so we don't even wanna see any line at all. And of course, that's the challenge with this haircut, is to not see any lines. All right, that is it for level 1, or level 0 if you want, on this side. And we're gonna basically repeat the same on the other side. There is no shame in going slow and making sure that you are lining up both sides with each other. If there's one thing that I do, it's I make a lot of mistakes. And if I can do something like this, then anybody can. And so I usually take a lot longer to double check my I's and cross my T's and make sure that I got it right. Because chances are I made a mistake somewhere along the line. I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of having this trimmer in my hands right now by cleaning up some of this fuzz that we have going on back here. All right, so now we have a half number, and we're gonna go up ever so slightly and work our way up about ½ of an inch worth with the half guard on, maybe a whole inch. We're gonna kind of see which way the hair is telling us it wants to go. Usually a bit of an angle, kind of following the shape of the head, but also the shape that the hair, or the direction that the hair grows, is important. And you can see sometimes the hair does this, sometimes other people's hair comes out in different ways. So we're gonna follow the hair and the shape of the head as we find the angle to cut at. Now we're gonna switch to the 1 comb, and we're gonna go up higher. So now we're getting very close to the point where using this lever is gonna start to come into play. I've had the lever open, which means it's been at its longest length up until now. But in a minute, I'm gonna use that lever to get between a half and a 1, and between a 0 and a half. And that's what's gonna help us get rid of the line. At this point, I am gonna go a little bit up on the lever, and I'm gonna do just a little more of a blend between the 1 and the half, bringing them a little closer together, right here where the 1 and the half met. And on this side, now that we've adjusted our lever, let's do the same thing here. So now what we're gonna focus on is getting rid of this line that we see between the 0 and the half. Okay, so I've gone back to the half guard and I've opened the lever up completely to be as open, meaning as big or wide as it can be. And I'm just gonna start there by seeing if it catches anything. It shouldn't, because I've already been over this once and it didn't. So in order to get rid of this line and make this blend or this fade perfect, we're gonna use the lever, and I'm gonna go about half distance between open and closed. And I'm gonna very easily start to work my way along this line where I see the line. It's already starting to get rid of that line by just having adjusted it that little bit. Better to be cautious than to go too fast here and to go too high up. So I'm basically barely touching the line where I see it. I'm gonna open it back up to its longer length, which is the half. Go over that again. I'm gonna close it again to about halfway through. So this should be about a quarter of a length right now. Still a little bit of a visible line right around here. So for this part back here, I'm gonna lower it even more and get it almost completely closed up. And see if that gets rid of the visible line there. Even a little bit more. Now we're totally closed up. Okay, it's very, very close to what I was hoping. I'm gonna give that side a break, and I'm gonna come to the other side and work on this side a bit.
How long would you say you've been cutting my hair for?
27 years.
27 years?
That's how long it's been. How many barbers have you been to in the last 27 years?
That's a good one. I don't know.
Any?
I must have went to like 1 or 2 or something.
All right, this side is perfect. I see absolutely no line showing from a 0 all the way to a 1.5. For some reason, this side is just easier. I do find that happens a lot, actually. Some sides are easier than others. When I cut my own hair, I have a much easier time cutting the left side from the right. So maybe it's the way the cusp or the hair grows out from the head. All right, so on this side, I ended up having to go higher than I did on the other side, because that line just wasn't working for me as easily as it did on the other side. But now that I've gotten up this high, that line has just faded almost completely. I'm just gonna keep working at it by adjusting the lever here, pulling the guard away as I get higher. All right, here's our right side, here's the left side. All right, now one last finishing touch that I will do is to clean up the edge here along the front. Because I have this trimmer here and it's so precise, sometimes you can use it almost like a razor and clean up the edge ever so slightly. This isn't one of those hairstyles where there's a completely chiseled edge on the front. To do that properly, you need a razor, an actual razor blade. Right here, I'm just gonna clean up some of the loose hairs that are outside of this design. That's all I'm gonna do on that side. Do the same thing over here. We're pretty much done with this haircut. Let's take a look now. Maybe what we could do, Michael, is we could, when you wash it, come back for just a final picture that I could put in. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow, if you don't want to today.
No, I have to do it today. I'm leaving in the morning tomorrow.
Oh, you're leaving tomorrow. Okay.
Just pictures of it?
Yeah.
I can do that.
No, let me do it.
What time are you leaving to volleyball?
I'm not. I'm still in. I have a broken toe.
A broken toe?
Probably broken.
Big toe?
No, not the big one.
That's the important one.
All right, and this is our final product. After we take a shower and maybe do a little hairstyle, we'll take some final photos to show it off, but here you go.